Hey everybody, this is Mr. Luckson Explains. Today we'll jump into the complement system. This complement system involves a series of proteins, and by the end of this video, I want you to have a better understanding of what happens when a pathogen gets into your system. So let's do it. The complement system involves a series of proteins that are found in the blood. They are part of the immune response. But they exactly what are they? How do they function? By the end of this video, I want you to have a better understanding of all of it. We understand everything also. We're trying to make you understand and have a better understanding of what happens with the complement system and when a pathogen enters or invades your body and what happens. So this complement system involves proteins. These proteins they are made in the liver and they're part of the immune response. They are made in the liver and get sent to the blood. They are floating around waiting for something to trigger them to become active. Now the names of these proteins are going to be easy to remember. They are called complement proteins. So we use a C to represent them, and we'll also give them a number because they vary. It starts from 1 to 9. So we'll give them a C. So we have complement C1, complement protein C2, complement protein C3, C4, C5, all the way to C9. See, it's so easy to remember. This is one of those things. Like let me talk about something like the complement system. We have the classical pathway and we also have an alternative pathway. Let's deal with the classical pathway first, because once we know the classical pathway, we actually know both. So we'll be going for all easy today. Let's just think of it like a cascade of event. One event triggers the next, and that triggers the next and triggers the other, etc., etc. So now it goes and starts. So once it goes all the way to the end, like you line up a bunch of dominoes, you push one down, and once you pop, it won't stop. So right now, let's start at the beginning. When a pathogen gets into your system, the pathogen has antigens on its surface that's recognized by an antibody. So the antibody binds to the antigen. And when that happens, C1, the first complement proteins, will bind to the antigen antibody complex and get activated. So when it's activated, we say it is popped and it won't stop. So now, that C1 is activated. It's gonna cause C2 and C4 to split in two. Okay, so now we have two fragments of C2 and two fragments of C4. So one of the fragments of C2 will combine with one of the fragments of C4 to form an enzyme called C3 convertase. Now when that happens, C3 convertase will split in two. It will split into C3A, which is a smaller fragment, and C3B, which is a larger fragment. So now we have these two fragments. Well, the smaller fragment will diffuse out of the area, and then this will attract phagocyte into the area, and these are the cells that will come and will start eating up pathogen to try to get rid of them. So the smaller C3A fragment is like a chemical attractant that serves as the signal to bring these other recruits into the area. So that's what happens, okay? So we also have the remaining larger fragment, which is a C3B fragment. This C3B fragment will bind to the surface of the pathogen. This basically tags the pathogen for destruction. But that's not the only way it helps to destroy the pathogen. So C3B will also cause C35. It will cause C5 to split in two. So when this C3B splits, it splits into C5A and C5B. And then the final steps that follows, or the process that follows, is that C3 C5b will join with C6, C7, C8, and C9 to form what's called the membrane attack complex. This complex will then attach to the membrane. It will attach to the membrane of the pathogen, and it makes a hole in it. It digs a hole in it and filling it up with water. And it fills up with water. Water will be rushing into the pathogen, causing it to break apart. It's like what happens when you make a balloon and you keep filling it with water, filling it with water, filling it with water. Eventually, what happens is that it pops. So that's what happened to the pathogen thanks to the complement system. So as we see, we have this series of proteins forming this sort of event, or it helps to try and get rid of whatever that pathogen is. Now this pathway, the pathway is called the classical pathway. It starts all the way at C1 binding to an antigen antibody complex, but there's also an alternative pathway. The cool thing and the cool stuff, the good thing is that we actually know both, because just after the classical pathway, you also know the alternative pathway. We just went through, but it skips all the antigen stuff. It skips C1, C2, C4. It starts with C3. C3 gets activated by binding direct to the pathogen itself. Once it binds to the pathogen, it's going to interact with other proteins like factor P, B, and D. That interaction causes C3 to split in two, which is C3A, the smaller fragment, and C3B, the larger fragment. And from there, the rest of the pathway continues. Just remember the way we discussed in classical pathway. So it starts with antigen antibody complex, which means it's the specific immune response. The antigen or the antibody recognizes a specific antigen and triggers this complement cascade, starting with C1 all the way down to C9. The alternative pathway isn't specific. C3 binds direct to the pathogen and triggers the rest of the cascade in both pathways. We are recruiting other pathogens, we are recruiting other phagocytes. We are tagging the pathogens for destruction, and we are forming the membrane attack complex to destroy the pathogen. By making that hole in it, this holes the membrane, we keep filling it with water. We keep filling the membrane with water so much that it pops. Man, this is good stuff. The way our immune responds to these foreign invaders, these antigens, like these foreign invaders. Man, it's so cool. I just hope you have a better understanding of what happens when the pathogen gets into your system, how the pathogen is recognized by these antibodies fighting until it's killed. Thank you so much. But the next topic will be digging into the immune system, types of immune system, the innate immune system. That's what we'll dig into the next time we meet. I just want you to have a blessed day, blessed time. Yeah, so see you next time. Peace. Mr. Luckson Explains.